Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector and the host of the Go Collect Speculation video. In this episode, we are going to spend some time talking about 6 blog posts that have been sent in to Go Collect. This first blogger does something that I think is really cool. This second blog post is actually near and dear to my heart. So this next blog post is right up my alley. I want to play a game. The MCU has done some pretty interesting things, right? The folks over at Go Collect, it was all about more than meeting the eye. You could potentially get ahead of the curve, and we all know that Marvel is going to do something with Daredevil. While we are on this topic of Spider-Man, we have to acknowledge the elephant that is in the room, and the elephant is Miles Morales, a 3.5 sold. So there you have it. We have reached the end of another Go Collect weekly recap. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and we'll tune in next week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to Wizard World Virtual Experiences. As the crowd emojis wildly, let's hear it out there, everybody. Let's see those emojis. Let's get those thumbs up, those hearts, all of the love and action on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We are streaming to you completely live and free on all 3 of those platforms. And I just have to start off by saying, happy birthday, Harry, right? Hagrid said it best. Happy birthday, Harry. It is Harry Potter's birthday today, July 31st, and we're so excited to bring you many of the cast members from that film series. We're going to bring them out in just a sec. A couple of quick housekeeping details. First off, this is coming to you completely live and completely free at Wizard World on Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram and YouTube. But we are also offering some paid experiences out there. That's right. You can head to wizardworldvirtual.com. Again, that's wizardworldvirtual.com to take advantage of some one-on-one live video chats, autographs, and video recorded messages. So definitely take advantage of those. Those one-on-one video chats, which are a once-a-lifetime experience with all of your favorite actors, will take place in a few days, so make sure you purchase those within the next 3 days. The autographs and video recorded messages will be on sale and available throughout the week, so definitely take advantage of that as well. So whether you're watching this live or watching it a little bit later in the week, take advantage of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences at wizardworldvirtual.com. We've also got the Wizard World Vault. We can't do physical conventions right now, obviously, but when we get back, we're excited to see you in person. But in the meantime, and probably for the foreseeable future, because we've been connecting with fans around the world, we will continue to do these. But head to the Wizard World Vault. It's our best attempt at an online convention floor. Works of art, memorabilia from our past artists and vendors. Ton of Harry Potter merch on there. So definitely check that out. That is at wizardworldvault.com. And shout out to our sponsor for July, Go Collect. Go Collect is your #1 source for collectibles. They track the sales of graded comics and have robust analysis tools for their users. They stay active on social media and have giveaways every week. Go Collect also has an expansive blog with topics on comic book speculations, video games, concert posters, and they are soon launching price guides for concert posters and video games. Go Collect's goal is simple, making collecting better. So please check them out at gocollect.com. We're so excited to have them. They are keeping that comic grading and comic collecting scene alive online. That's enough out of me. We've got a huge cast of cast members from Harry Potter coming out here right now. We have folks watching from around the world. Let's just shout out some of the countries and states that are watching. We've got UK in the house, Belgium, obviously across the US, Chicago, Louisiana, Delaware. We've got Canada, Australia. Good morning, Australia. I think it's like 3 or 4 a.m. right now there. France, North Carolina, Illinois, Texas, Oregon. They're still coming in. India, Turkey. I said France, Belgium, Chile, New York, California, Argentina, Nebraska. Obviously, we know that the chat is going wild right now for everybody. Germany in the house. Wales. Oh, my gosh. Morocco. There are universal fans. It is a universal fandom. Argentina. And we're excited that you're all here watching with us. But we've got a ton of people to bring out, so let's get it started. First up, this lovely lady is a screenwriter, model, producer, activist. It's so fun to go back and watch the first movie. She had one single line where she says hello to Harry, and then just picture how that character grew and developed, and the actor that she became, and then just the important character that she became in this series. Let's give it up for Ginny Weasley. Please welcome Bonnie Wright to the virtual stage.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Bonnie. How's it going? 2001, my gosh, so long ago. It's insane. Almost 20 years ago next year. Thank you for being here and joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, let's get everyone out here. We've got a whole mix of different cast members from different series. These next three actors have tons and tons of television and film credits. I'm not going to be able to name all of them, but I'm just going to try to hit some of their highlights. Veteran of stage and screen, award-winning actress known for her work in The Age of Innocence. She was in Romeo and Juliet, and she plays Professor Sprout. Please give it up for Miriam Margolyes.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Miriam. Thank you, and thank you, Guy, for cheering in the background. It's awkward on our end. We know you're hearing applause. We just hear dead silence. So, Miriam, thank you so much. You look so lovely today. Thank you for joining us on this call. All right, this next gentleman, again, countless films and television shows. Here's a short list. The Strain. He played the despicable man. If you didn't hate this character, you have no pulse. Walder Frey, but it was because he was so good. From Game of Thrones, he is part of the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, which I love. He played Filch in Harry Potter. Please get up for David Bradley.
Hooray! Nicky Nacky Noo.
Hello, David. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
So many awesome series. Speaking of connections to other nerddoms, we talked about Game of Thrones. We have another Game of Thrones actor coming out. Not only Game of Thrones, but my gosh, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Empire Strikes Back, the Bond film For Your Eyes Only. That's just barely scratching the surface. I just learned this recently. I knew this actor. I didn't realize he was the voice of the spider from the forest, Aragog. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Julian Glover.
Yay!
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone in the world.
Julian, that is a great point. We have folks watching like on the west coast of the U.S., where it's still early morning, all throughout the country, obviously in the UK, France, and then Australia, where it's people are waiting up till 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, and they're still tuning in. Amazing.
It must be nuts.
They are clearly nuts. They are clearly nuts. They do it all the time for these panels. It's so cool. If it's a fandom that they know and love, or if it's a series they know and love, our Australian and New Zealand fans and Philippine fans have been awesome. So we appreciate you all staying up late to the wee hours or waking up in the wee hours of the morning. Let's keep the love fest going for our Harry Potter actors. This next gentleman from V for Vendetta. He took on the iconic role of General Tarkin in Rogue One. Please give it up for Guy. Oh, and he plays Thickness in Harry Potter. Give it up for Guy Henry.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Guy. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Hello.
Hello. We're almost there, y'all. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. 2 more to go. Let's do it so we can get this panel started. First up, you know him recently from Marcella and Robin Hood. He is an actor and mixed arts martial artist. He plays one half of the Crab and Goyle duo. Please get up for Goyle himself, Josh Herdman.
Woo! Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hello.
Josh, welcome. Josh, thank you for being with us. Josh informed us beforehand that he's got a birthday party with massive amount of kids going on right outside the door. So this is a nice break for him right now. So we appreciate it, Josh, for you being here. Take a little break from the party. And last, but certainly not least, from American Assassin and Shoot on Sight, he plays Karkaroff's aide in the Harry Potter series. Please get up for Tolka Safer.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
We did it. We all made it out.
Hey.
We all made it out to the point. That's the hardest part. That's the most difficult part. I want to go around the room really quick. We have limited time, and we have so many amazing, talented actors from the Harry Potter series. One of the most universally watched and known and popular film series of all time. I mean, we've got the books, obviously, and then the films, and then the theme parks. There is just so much fandom surrounding this character that was brought to life over 25 years ago. The movies are almost 20 years old. I would just love to bounce around the room a little bit. We'll start with the ladies and just tell us a little bit about what the series has meant to you personally. Just the fandom and everything surrounding it and how it's just really affected your life. Bonnie, let's kick things off with you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's hugely affected my life, 10 years of an experience. And I guess, I never knew the fate of Ginny's role at the beginning, so it was all quite, took it as it came. For everyone, it was the same thing. So I never would have imagined that she would have ended up with Harry, and the role developed in the way it did. And, I fell in love with an industry that I knew nothing about as a 9-year-old, and now, love it. And I feel like it's an amazing thing that it keeps going. I mean, these new generations, you meet kids who are super young and they're just getting into it, and it's this amazing, lasting thing. And it's the same for me. I mean, it's had a lasting impact. It continues to surprise me of how significant it was. So
that's so awesome. And a credit to you as an actor. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know how much they would use Ginny initially. She was obviously had parts, she had a play in the book. Just one simple line in that first movie, then just set up the stage. Obviously a big character in Chamber of Secrets, and then come back in Goblet of Fire, you know what I mean, and then becomes Harry's love in the end. So what a journey to see for her, for sure.
Yeah, I always think that my first line was maybe like a secret message to myself of good luck for the whole thing.
It's funny, you can see, I mean, maybe it's just the nerd in me, but you can see the glisten in your eyes when you say goodbye to Harry, and then it obviously leads to
yeah, I think I was probably just terrified. I didn't know what was going on.
Awesome.
Walking on a film set.
Yeah. Miriam, you get the teachers are one of the most beloved parts of the Harry Potter series. They're so unique. Each one of them is such a character, and you brought Sprout to life like no other. When you saw Sprout, you're like, oh duh, this is Sprout. You know what I mean? This is the Sprout that I remember when we read the book, and you brought her to life so perfectly. What was it like playing that part, and just how do you feel about the whole Harry Potter series as a whole?
Well, I'm very grateful to it because I made a lot of money from it. And that's the thing that's most attractive. I didn't really have to act at all. I just went on stage or onto the set in a funny costume and enjoyed myself. I think it was great fun, and I liked all the people. The best bit was when we were in the trailers waiting to go on set and had such lovely talks, because an awful lot of the English acting profession were in the show, and it was just wonderful to see them and be with them.
Oh,
so I had a lovely time, and I'm very grateful to it. I haven't seen any of the films, and I never read any of the books. So it's a bit rather extraordinary to me, but I'm enjoying myself, and thank you for having me in this panel.
Oh my gosh. It's so interesting when you hear that folks just don't go back and watch their work. I mean, I can speak for all the fans. When we said you were perfect, you looked amazing, and you fit into the world so well. So we appreciate you being here, and thank you for doing it. Shout out to fans asking questions right now, Charlotte Walton and also Megan Mullins. This panel's going to go fast, so I want to make sure to get our fans that are watching, they asking questions about your favorite memories in the series. If you've read the books beforehand, Miriam, you kind of answered a little bit of both of those. So, anyone who wants to take on those as they speak about their love for the series, feel free. But shout out to those fans watching. David, you play the fun and awesome character throughout all series of Filch. You love to hate Filch. You he has a heart down there deep, you know what I mean? But he's just like the grumpy person that takes care of the castle. Tell us about your experience with Filch and just like being a part of the Harry Potter fandom.
Well, when I first read it, I thought, well, this could be fun, but and there was so much pressure from my kids saying, Dad, you've got to get this one. But at the time, of course, we didn't know it was going to turn into like 8 movies or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just a fun one-off. And I thought, I'm going to be a hate figure for kids everywhere. But then I went to the first premiere with my wife and 3 kids, and I heard my first titter. I thought, oh, this is okay. Here we go. So, and I was so glad that the young fans found him funny. And of course, what gave him a bit of humanity was the fact that he loved his cat. So
Yes.
In the end, it turned out to be just quite a richer character than I imagined when I first read it.
Was Mrs. Norris, did Mrs. Norris, I hate to ask this just in case something tragic happened, but was Mrs. Norris the same cat throughout the entire series? Did you fall in love with
well,
her?
we had 2, Max and Alanis, and they were identical and they were scragged up to that. But they're beautiful cats, very intelligent, Maine Coons. And so if one was not feeling up to it, actually one of them was, Max was better at lying in my arms for a whole afternoon without any bother. and Alanis was very good at following me around. So it was like whatever skill was required for that particular shot.
Oh my gosh,
you know.
that's so cool. It's so,
Yeah.
you never really hear the stories of the animals, right? In things, and that such a sweet story. Jenny 4 actually just asked, how was it working with Mrs. Norris, which you just relayed for us. So there's your answer, Jenny. The character, such a lovable character that has that sense of humor and lightheartedness behind him, but it's just, at the end of the day, a grumpy old groundskeeper,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was awesome, and one of the fan favorite characters for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Julian, again, I mentioned this in your intro, a huge fan of all of your work prior to Harry Potter, obviously in such huge fan series, the Indiana Jones series, obviously Star Wars, Bond. I mean, again, that's just scratching the surface. So thank you for being here. I did not realize that you were the voice of Aragog, and now you're also a part of this fandom now too. What is it that sets apart, I guess, like the Harry Potter fandom to you, as opposed to all of these other hugely successful fan series that you've been a part of?
Well, I'm the main thing is that I'm only a voice. I'm not a physical presence on the screen. As I wittily say, I didn't have enough legs to play the part. But I hope I've done well with the voice. I got the voice purely by audition. Many people were up for it, and I got it because it happened that my voice happened only, nothing to do with my quality as an actor. They reckon that it sounded like a spider. Well, if they knew what a spider sounded like, they'd have got somebody else maybe. But anyway, the feeling about Harry Potter is quite strong, because I find at conventions that despite it's only a voice, people come to me and they really are interested in the character and they're interested in the spider and what he does in the film, which is lovely. And also I have a particular fondness for the Harry Potter franchise, because in the play in London called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, my son Jamie Glover played Harry Potter for a couple of years ago. So I feel very close to the whole franchise.
Very nice.
It's like, and of course, I feel particularly pleased today because I see so many people I know and love in front of me now. So hello, guys, and hello to you all over the world. It's lovely to talk to you.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. And that's so cool to hear about your son. What a beautiful stage production. My gosh, they really took that world that was, you could think would only be created in film and translated it to a live stage. And it's so much
amazing. And the thing on the stage, they're the actors standing in front of you. You know that in films they can achieve fantastic magic, but in front of you in the theater, you see someone turning into somebody else in front of your very eyes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is magic, real magic.
Yeah.
And that's what's so extraordinarily clever about the stage presentation. Sorry, I've been talking too much.
No. It's great to hear, and I think it's part of the fandom as well, the stage productions. And fingers crossed, our love goes out there to all of the theaters of the world and theater actors, and everyone working behind the scenes. It's tough right now, but hope fingers crossed. Stay safe, wear that mask, and we can get back to things soon. Guy, you come in later on in the series as as part of the Ministry of Magic. You're the head of law enforcement. This is a point in the series where Voldemort's back, you know what I mean? And the government is kind of corrupt, not to draw any parallels to anything going on in recent days. But what was it like coming in as that sort of, part of a good organization, but had sort of bad intentions, you know what I mean, as your characters of the Ministry of Magic?
Yeah, I think I was essentially a very lovely person, but apparently I was under I was under a bit of an imperial curse,
Yeah.
Which was never really mentioned in the film. So I played it a little bit starey, glary-eyed, and a bit strange and everything. And I often wonder if people thought, what's the matter with him? Has he been on the course? Which of course I never was. So yeah, he was a lovely character to play, though, in the relatively little bits I did. And I agree with everyone else. It was such a fantastic thing to be part of. Very nice people, and it was great. I mean, there's two friends of mine from the theatre that I've worked with, David Bradley, and alongside in the next theatre, Julian Glover with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And there was something about the Harry Potter thing that was a bit like being in a theatre company like the RSC or something, because a lot of old actors shouting in wigs. Lovely.
It became kind of the it became kind of like the sort of maybe another comparison, like a Doctor Who type situation where you get the who's who of British actors, you know what I mean, coming in to play these parts.
Certain people who shall remain nameless, like I think Harriet Walter, who I don't think was in it and gets very cross that they weren't in it. There was somebody else in it and not me. But she does not seriously. But it was a lovely thing to be part of. Very, very fortunate that I was in it. I agree with everyone on that. It was a lovely thing to be a part of. And then it carries on because we do things like this. And when we're allowed to go out there and hug people and get too close to them and things again, we'll be doing that as well. And it's great to meet the people who love that world so much. It's a nice, and it's got a good heart, I think.
It has a beautiful heart, and that's why I think it continues to be shown over and over and over again, and will last for 50, 100 years. I think, people will keep watching it because of that heart. I think that's an important message for sure. Because Shuki Doctor asked what it's like to work in this huge franchise, so I just want to give a shout out to Kashuki who's watching. Josh, let's turn to you again. Speaking of characters we love to hate, Crabbe and Goyle, obviously, along with Malfoy, are that student trio that we just, anytime they were on screen, we were laughing, we were guffawing, we were like just hoping Harry and his friends would pull through and trick them to live another day. Speak a little bit about being part of that trio, you know what I mean, of Crabbe, Goyle, Malfoy, and just, again, starting so young and then just literally aging along with us throughout the series.
Yeah, it was an extremely surreal experience.
Sure.
And when I think about it now, it's still extremely surreal. This is surreal. I find it's a little bit hard. I don't know. I find it a bit hard to comprehend how many people around the world are actually watching this. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But it was, I absolutely loved it. It was, it was just a fantastic experience. And much like Guy said, I just feel very fortunate to have been a part of it. It's just fantastic. Yeah.
Very awesome. Very awesome. Tolga, one of my favorite film that, everyone argues what their favorite film is in the series. I'm going to out myself right now. It's Goblet of Fire. I think it's like the kids are Mine just too. Old enough. Yeah, kids. I know there's, you see where I'm getting at. Yeah. The kids are old enough. There's cool action. We see Voldemort for the first time. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of elements that come together in the series. And obviously that's your main film. Again, tell it. And this is now the height of popularity. It was funny. Bonnie was mentioning, like not knowing and David not knowing up front if this series would go on, like if it would be successful. You don't know. You know what I mean? Chris Columbus comes in, as a young director and has to create this world that's so popular. But again, then we get to Goblet of Fire and the series is already hugely successful. What was it like walking in to that fandom?
Well, I was a humongous fan of both the books and the films before. So, very different from Bonnie, who came in right at the beginning.
Sure.
I came in midway through. These movies and the books were huge. And I'd read the fourth book, and there was a particular character in it that I thought I was right for because it was kind of physically described like me, and sure. it was the character of Victor Crumb. And I went in and went through the whole audition process in London. You go back and forth to different auditions and ended up going to the studios to meet Mike one-on-one with the casting directors. And, obviously I really wanted this role. Fortunately and unfortunately, it didn't go my way.
Sure.
But I was told later on, and I believe this is still true, I was told by David Heyman that I'm the only actor across the whole franchise whose role was actually created for them after they didn't get a different part. So I'm very lucky indeed. So for me, it was an absolute dream come true and a huge honor to not get one role, but have impressed Mike Newell and the producers and the studios enough that they could bring me on board. And I'm a tiny fish in the grand pond that is Harry Potter, but I'm still a fish in that pond. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really, really, really still to this day, like Josh, I'm always like, wow, was I really part of that?
That's so cool. That's so cool to hear that story. You know what I mean? Of the character created for you. We've even got, I mean, people, and every character matters in the series. That's why it's such an awesome series. You know, everyone gets featured, even from the smallest characters all the way up to Harry. You know what I mean? And even folks in the chat, Damon Lestrange, 1985, saying Tolga is the man. You know, everyone still knows you from that movie. So we appreciate you doing that. Guy, you mentioned a little bit. You joked like how there were parts left out, or there were some, details left out for thickness, you know what I mean, that you were playing that maybe, they didn't pull over from the book. And, this question comes up always with books to movies. You can't do everything. But the question from Ashley Powell, for anyone really on the panel, whoever wants to kick it off, is, if you have read the books, and I know, Miriam, you said you hadn't, but for anyone who had read the books, was there any minute detail or specific thing you wish had been added in the movies for your character? Probably get asked this a bunch or a lot, but I don't know if anyone has anything that sticks out.
Yeah, I'll chime in. I get like it happens. I guess with all things, when you understand more about how like books are adapted into films, how obviously if only we could have made like 4 or 5 hour long movies, I'm sure. For sure. Loved it, and we would have too. But you realize that like the script has to just serve the hero of the story, because that's kind of like as much as you can fit in the course of a film. But it did mean I found it a little bit frustrating at times, because there were parts of the character that you'd have to maybe show up performing and just knowing for yourself, but
sure,
you wouldn't get to sort of explore. Like for Ginny and Harry's relationship, it kind of just like happens almost, and I feel like it would have been cooler if it was closer to the book, which is like these slightly more kind of hints to it kind of bubbling under the surface and like developing. And I think I'd have loved, even though it wasn't the most comfortable experience playing Quidditch, I think for Ginny's role it would have been cool to play more of the Quidditch, but I'm not sure how much I would have like rushed to sit on the strange contraption that was a Quidditch broom and a bicycle seat that we had. But yeah, I think just if only the movies could have been like super long and we could have included all those elements to it. And I know from the fans I meet, they have the exact same opinion when it comes to Ginny and wishing there was more of her. So
yeah, even fans in the comments right now are like, oh, I wish they would have shown more of Ginny's full character from the books, you know what I mean, things like that. But like you said, decisions have to be made.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know as a fan, Jolie, yeah.
That most of us here have all been in adaptations of books.
Sure.
I learned my lesson very early on when I did an adaptation of Charles Dickens' Dombey and Son, and I read the book inside out. I spent the whole time being frustrated that I wasn't being able to show this or that part. I do understand that feeling. Ever since then, I never read the book beforehand. I read what's on the script, and I might fall on my ass for doing that. But I don't care. I'm not influenced by the book. I'm only influenced by the script. And that's the way I do it. And I think probably quite a lot of my colleagues do the same.
Well, when I read the first book, there was a line where Filch catches out Ron, Harry and Hermione in a tower or something with a dragon's egg, I can't remember. And I had a line in the book which was, oh dear, we are in trouble. And it wasn't in the film. And I thought, oh, that's a shame, because I just a beautiful line. So when we did Chamber of Secrets, and the kids had come in the car, survived the Whomping Willow, they're coming up the stairs into the Great Hall. And my line in the script was, oh, it's detention for you lot, which I thought was not as strong a line. So I said to Chris Columbus, what about this, oh dear, he said, yeah, go for it. And so that's probably the line that most kids quote back at me now.
Yeah.
And I was just so glad I'd read the book so I could slip it in.
That's awesome. Guy, you were like nodding your head a little bit too. I know we talked about this briefly for a little bit, but you come in Deathly Hallows, and by that point, so much is happening. Like, you know what I mean? It's really, really tough at this point. And even split into two parts, you know what I mean? So much is happening. It was tough to get a deep dive into thickness for sure. But anything stick out specifically to you?
Well, I hadn't seen any of the films, I'm sorry to say, up to that point. And I had a lodger who lived in my flat in Tooting, and he said, well, you've got to watch them, haven't you? And I thought, oh, lordy, no. But I loved them. And I kept shedding manly tears. Well, not very manly, Mike, because, you know, I loved it. So I had a crash course in it. So I was just very glad to be there.
Yeah.
And I like being in the trailers, as Miriam was saying, that I had a very large trailer. And I didn't deserve it, but it was great. It was just wonderful. So, but no, I didn't really bring anything, you know, but a great deal of affection from having just done a crash course in them.
Yeah. It's amazing. Miriam, you mentioned earlier in your little introduction that you hadn't read, you too hadn't read the books. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. And that's what's so amazing. Because again, I know I speak for all the fans when we say like your Madam Sprout was what we saw in the books, and you just brought it so well, eloquently to life. Your portrayal was so amazing. What was your process like then using that script to sort of, that initial script to create this character that had already been pictured in so many people's heads in the book?
Well, I didn't have a process. I just said the lines because I thought they were very much like me. And that's why I was cast, I suppose, to be me. So I just said them as I would say them. And I am the headmistress of Hufflepuff. And yes. So I did it like a headmistress. I don't think there was much actual dramatic skill involved, to be honest. It's what we call NAR. No acting required.
The pros. See, we're learning so much. Anyone who's an aspiring actor out there, you're hearing from some of the greats right here. Don't read the book. No acting required. Just go in as yourself, and you'll get cast. I love this. We're getting a little acting class here as well.
Can I ask, Miriam, are you ever tempted to watch them, or you just don't even think about them?
No, I'm not tempted to watch them because, to be quite honest, I don't really like fantasy. Right. I love my industry, and I know that fantasy is a big part of it, but it's just not the one that I enjoy. So I like rather nitty-gritty films dealing with what I call real life. I don't think Harry Potter deals with real life. It deals with a fantasy life, which is rich and imaginative and full of surprises and fascinating. But it's just not for moi. That's all.
This is
fair enough.
Yeah, I would very much listen to a podcast hosted by you, Miriam, just talking about the differences in film history. That was lovely. Josh, how about you for Crabbe and Goyle? Obviously, they're hugely popular characters that do a ton of things in the book, and most of them make to the screen. Not everything. Had you read the books beforehand? Were there any moments you wish happened that you didn't get to? Oh, you're just on mute still there, Josh. That's okay.
Unmute yourself, young man.
I hadn't read the books. I'm a bit like Miriam. I'm not a fantasy guy. I was never into sci-fi or I like my gritty stuff too. But sure. I had a friend. He was really into them, and he said, "You got to read these books." I was like, "Yeah, it's not my thing," you know. And then I got the audition. Then I got a recall. No. I did the first audition. And then when they told me I had the recall, I thought I better read the first one for the recall, you know, so I'm clued up. And then I read the first three in like a week, I think. I just couldn't put them down. So I really enjoyed the books. And I think Crabbe and Goyle's parts are quite a bit big, fairly bigger in the books. And 100%. They play Quidditch, and I always wanted to. I was looking forward to the Quidditch, you know, but they cut that out. But you know, they got to do what they got to do. So
yeah.
Well, Quidditch is rather a disappointment because I can remember when we filmed the Quidditch game and we had to stand on little sort of plinth.
It was so hot.
Holding a number, and they said. You know, number 2 or whatever our number was. And then we had to sort of look as if something had happened. It was all done on a green screen. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just sort of went, oh, you know, it was like that. What we call face acting, because I
remember it well.
Know what was happening.
Well, and then Bonnie mentioned, tell us a little, you mentioned the rigs, you know, we're in this fantasy world, we're seeing people flying on brooms, but then behind the scenes, it's like an awkward bicycle rig, right, that people are like sitting on.
Yeah, it was like a bicycle seat on a broom. And obviously the Quidditch like uniform outfit was like many layers of like padding and like cloak and all different sports kind of out. So you're really layered up. And then similar to when you're cheering on the platforms and when you're doing anything with green screen, you know, they're not actual real eye lines you're looking at, but instead like someone holding like a tennis ball on a stick, like moving along. So you're meant to be looking at it. So it was quite a lot of choreography and looking, and then at one point I was spun all the way around. And you had to, I obviously probably didn't have much like core strength, but you had to like hold and be always parallel to the like broomstick as I spun around. And once it like stopped working halfway and I was just like hanging like monkey looking off the arm, and it was just on an arm of like a cherry picker like crane. So it looked all pretty DIY style, but you know, it looks amazing when
we talked to we did a previous Harry Potter panel. We talked to Danielle Tabor, who plays Angelina, who has quite a few, and she said they got progressively more comfortable, but basically described it the same way as just being super awkward up front. Bonnie, let's continue. This is a question this specifically for you, but then I want to ask the panel as well. This is from Elizabeth Phillips. I'm Lizzie from Delaware. I'm 20 years old and a huge fan of Harry Potter. A question for Bonnie: if you were chosen as a professor of Hogwarts, what class would you want to teach? And then the question remains for the rest of the panel: if you had to pick a specific class or teacher from the series that was your favorite, who would that be? But Bonnie, why don't we kick it off with you?
I think defense against the dark arts was obviously the like position that was always replaced. So I want to play and be that role, but I feel like I would probably only be in one movie and then something would happen and I'd be pushed out. So I don't know if I'd last that long, but I think all of the characters that came through that role were just all my favorite characters. You know, from the craziness of Gilderoy Lockhart to like the amazingness of David Thewlis's role as Lupin. I just think so many amazing people getting through that profession role, but clearly they didn't last long, so maybe it was a jinxed role, but I would go with that.
Josh, do you have as a person who played a student, and Tolga too, technically you were kind of like a younger person in the cast. Josh and Tolga, do you have a favorite teacher or a class that you would have liked to teach if, let's say, your character's now older, they get hired back at Hogwarts?
I'd like it to be a spin-off. And I'd love to play like Snape's son that comes in many years later, this secret love child, and be a slightly younger Alan Rickman, because I just think he was just the best. And
R.I.P. Alan Rickman, we love you.
I saw him a few times. We used to have when we used to go in early in the morning to have hair and makeup. He was usually in the seat next to me, and he was very quiet in the mornings, and I was called the problem child. They said there was always a problem child on the set when it came to hair, because as you can see, I've got a lot of it, and it's very thick and very curly, and they just never knew what to do. And Alan wore a wig, and he was just to be in his presence every morning was a joy. And I think I can't imagine anyone playing that role better than him. So if there was ever to be a spin-off where I could somehow be his child, that would be great.
What a cool idea. And there's a lot of fans asking about working with Alan, and so shout out to the fans asking that. And yeah, R.I.P. Alan. Yeah, Julian.
Well, I quite simply would have loved to have played Dumbledore. Simple as that. I go no further. I didn't get it.
But you got them. You got them as the voice of Aragog. You came back.
I got the voice of Aragog. Wonderful compensation.
Was you considered, Julian?
Yes, I was.
Oh, I never knew that.
Why should you? I didn't tell you.
Sometimes it's common knowledge, you know. Sometimes people know these things.
Yeah,
I do quite a good Richard Harris.
I was going to say, I mean, obviously shout out to Richard Harris and Michael Gambon. You know, they did a beautiful job, but yeah, that would have been a cool, Julian, we can see it for sure. And that would have been, been a cool, different interpretation on it for sure. Josh, teacher, if Goyle, sorry, had to come back as a teacher.
Oh, Snape. Yeah. I mean, Snape was potions, right?
He did. Yeah. He was always wanting defense, but he was mostly potions. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were like Snape's teachers' pets, weren't we? So, yeah, sure. I'd have to go with Snape. But my favorite teacher was Lockhart. I I mean, I enjoyed reading his, reading his bits, but most in all the books. I just found him absolutely hilarious. Yeah, he was my favorite.
Awesome. I want to turn things. Miriam, you mentioned obviously Sprout is the head of Hufflepuff, and this question always comes up. And I know the second I say Hogwarts houses, everyone in the chat is going to go crazy with which is the best house of the 4. But if you had to sort, I don't know if anyone's done the sorting. But Miriam, would you say that you identify best? What house do you personally identify with best? Miriam, would you stick with Hufflepuff?
Haven't got a flying
the wrong person to ask.
Kids about any of them. I know that one's called Slytherin.
One is called Slytherin.
Called something else. I don't know what they're all called.
You got 2 out of 3. You got 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4.
Well, I really don't know, but I'm sure they're all excellent in their own way. I haven't got a clue, darling.
I think you would be an excellent Hufflepuff. I believe that, Miriam.
No, that's good because that's what I am.
Yeah. David, do you have so we have Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff.
Oh,
David.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be Slytherin. I mean, these are my people. When I read the first book, and I realized they were going to make a film, and I got my agent onto it. My kids said, "You've got to, put yourself up for this." After reading the first book, I said, "Well, what part should I put myself in for?" Hoping they would say Snape, because
sure.
I'd worked with Alan Rickman at the RSC. We both started at the same time. He was the coolest guy ever, brilliant actor, and I thought, but up till then he hadn't been cast. And I thought, well, Snape, he's the suave. And my kids said, no, Dad, you're a natural filch. So I thought, well, that's how
children lovely.
Your children both said you're a natural filch, but then you said earlier they said, and also don't mess this up, Dad. This is important. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Guy, do you have a particular house that you feel yourself drawn to in the Harry Potter?
May I be associated with the remarks of Miriam? Because I don't know them either, I have to say. Because I wasn't really part of that world, actually, was I, as the Minister for Magic? But I agree. Julian Glover would have made a lovely Dumbledore, I think, but he is my favourite. And I do remember Richard Harris, that lovely moment where he says, "But you've got something those other horrible people haven't got." Oh. And he says, "What's that?" And he remember Mr. Harris putting his hand on his head, I think, and saying, "Love, Harry, love." And that's one of my favourite bits in the whole thing.
What a great actor.
So I like Dumbledore.
Very nice. Julian, I don't know. Again, Harry Potter house.
Well, see, like Dumbledore, I remain neutral. All the houses are great as far as I'm concerned. They're not, and then I deal with it.
Safe answer.
I had no influence on the film.
Very nice. Tolga, I know. I know that the houses are out there for Durmstrang. I don't know them off the top of my head. I don't know if you know them, or if again more of the British houses, particularly, you're drawn to.
I get asked this when I go to conventions, like which house do you consider yourself? But obviously, my school is Durmstrang, and I'm sure we do have our own houses. I don't know if there are any official houses for Durmstrang that JK created, but I'm sticking with Durmstrang. So I always say I'm not affiliated with Hogwarts at all. But if the closest is probably Slytherin. So if I had to choose, I would probably go with Slytherin.
Very nice. And last but not least, Bonnie, obviously we know Ginny is a Gryffindor. But you personally, does that feel like where you're drawn as well?
Yeah, and I've done my, you can do the personality test on Pottermore to see what house you're in. And I'm proud to say Bonnie, as me, is a Gryffindor. So,
that must have been nerve-wracking. Like you wouldn't have wanted to share it if it was something else, right?
It was nerve-wracking because they were filming me whilst I did the test. My gosh. So I was like, what if I get a house I don't like? Do I have to pretend that I'm like, yay, all houses good? But really, I just want Gryffindor. So I was pleased to do Gryffindor. I haven't done, you can also find out your Patronus on Pottermore too, but I haven't done that.
Yeah.
And I've been more resistant to that because I feel, houses there's just 4, whereas to get a Patronus, it's like loads of different animals, and I would be upset if I got an animal that
So
I basically really want an animal that's like a water-based ocean animal. So I'm like hoping when I do it, I get like a whale, because imagine the whale coming in, you'd like take over the whole room.
Oh,
A spider.
Yep. Julian Spider. I mean, we're on it. People are talking about Patronuses out there. It's an intense test, the Patronus one. You have to like put headphones on and be like centered, and I get asked these questions like very quickly, like rapid fire. It's an intense process.
Oh, okay. I need to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be like in a good headspace. My gosh, we are completely out of time. This has been such a lovely chat. We've heard a lot from each of you about just your relationship to Harry Potter. We know and love you as our favorite characters from the series. One quick thing from Laura VM, and then we'll do a quick round robin around for everyone to give their final shout outs to the fans. But Laura VM, Ginny, Bonnie, I know you've been to the Wizarding World as part of its opening, and it did recreated, Ginny for those rides. If folks are wondering if anyone else, by show of hands, has been to, they recreated the Harry Potter world in Florida and California. Anyone else been there and experienced that? Yeah, Tolga, David, nice.
Oh, not asked.
I think that every year for like the last few years, they would kind of like pick out about 10 people and send them out there for a few days. And I got to go once, and it's insanely amazing.
It's insanely
amazing. And they, everyone's really proud of the world that they created. You really can't beat it.
It feels more real than the film set, because there isn't, corners that you go around and then it's actually just scaffolding. Lighting, and cables.
There's no crew sitting there eating sandwiches or anything like that.
Real butterbeer, whatever that.
just tourists, just tourists eating sandwiches. But no, it's so amazing. David, you've been there as well?
I've been to the Florida one, and one of the most amazing virtual reality rides ever, through the castle and the mountain, and it goes down into the ocean to the lake, and it was a great jolly for about 4 days, and they flew us out there for a DVD launch, and it was great. Absolutely loved it. And the one at Leedson, which I haven't been to since it opened, and there were people in the Great Hall just looking out, and I'm looking around saying, "Yeah, I used to work here," So, but
when I went, I actually went with David and David's daughter Francesca. It's one of my favorite memories, because I think we all just had way too much to drink, and they shut down the park after a certain time, and you kind of have free run of it, and we were just on the rides and just we had the best time. I've got some great pictures of David and I just a little bit too merry.
All right,
haven't we all?
A couple too many firewater shots.
Some sort of agreement. Okay.
Oh my gosh! And then the Warner Brothers Studio Lot tour in London, another beautifully done, just throwback, memorabilia and everything. And shout out to
yeah.
Josh, you've got kids. Have you not taken any plans? I know times are tough right now, and please be safe, everyone down in Florida and California. My gosh, but when things are back to kind of able to travel and such, any plans to take the kids to Harry Potter World?
Oh, I'd love to. That'd be amazing. I was actually really lucky, and recently, I got to do a couple Comic Cons. I did Ace in Chicago, but I managed to tie it in with another Comic Con, and I ended up, traveling over 6 states and I took my he was then 9, so we made it was an unforgettable trip out of it. It was just the most amazing experience. Didn't do Florida, but I was meant to do the con in Florida and this month, but obviously that wasn't going to happen.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd love to take them.
Yeah. Well, again, we are so out of time, but we appreciate you all being here. The fans have just been, the stream and the chat has been nothing but love and hearts for each one of you as an actor throughout your career, and then your characters that you portrayed. You brought them all beautifully to life, and we just really appreciate you being here and giving us like a short break from everything. We're all in this shared experience together. And so we thank you on behalf of, again, fans watching from around the world. It is a global phenomenon and fandom, Harry Potter. So let's quickly go around just final shout outs, and then I'll give my little spiel at the end. But just final shout outs to all the fans watching. We'll go in reverse order. Tolga, why don't we start with you?
shout out to everyone here, all of the actors that are here. I mean, it's a huge privilege to be on this screen and to be associated with you guys in some respect through the Harry Potter world. And the Harry Potter world means a lot to me, as I'm sure it does to many, many people all over the world. And I'm just really proud of that. And I'm proud of everyone else. And just thank you to you guys for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks, Tolga. Josh?
Yeah, I'd just like to, yeah, I just want to say, I can't, just want to say thanks also. Harry Potter impacted so many people's lives, and I'm the same. It impacted my life. It's weird to think what direction my life would have gone without Harry Potter. So yeah, thank you, and for the continued support for the franchise.
Awesome, and happy birthday to your son. Happy birthday.
It was actually about two weeks ago. We had to postpone it twice. So
nice. Well, delayed. Happy belated.
Thank you,
Guy.
I just want to say thanks to everybody involved in the Harry Potter. Such a lovely time. David Yates, lovely, brilliant director, and he was one of the people who, quite often in the show business, people say, "Oh, we must work together again," or something. And he said that to me when I did a tiny part for him on telly in a thing called The Young Visitors, and he said, "I'd like to use you again," and I thought, "Oh yeah." And he did, and he kept his word on that. So thank you, David, and thanks for having me on the panel. And take care of yourselves. Keep your distance.
Yes. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Keep your distance. Wear a mask. Julian.
I'd just like to say hello to everybody properly, and to say thank you for watching all this. I think we've been quite entertaining with the other guys.
Very entertaining, Julian. Very entertaining. Oh no, you cut out a little bit there.
What?
Sorry, your last sentence just cut out a little bit. Yeah, tell us again.
Of course, by Jamie being in it as well. And so we have a mutual love of the subject. And it's lovely to be here among you guys who have been so important to it. God bless.
Oh, thank you, Julian. David?
Well, it was, of course, a great thing to be a part of. But an event like this, when you read out the numbers of people in the different countries that have tuned in just to this event, it's great just to be reminded how much loved the movies are, and I'm very honoured to have been a part of it. It's made a difference to all our lives in a sense, and I just love the feedback we've had from people all over the world, and long may it continue.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Miriam.
Oh, it's a lovely family. Lovely to be with you all. Lots of love. Big hug. Stay safe.
Thank you, Miriam. And Bonnie?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. It's lovely to see all our faces on this virtual world, and I'm sure it brightened up everyone's day and week. It's obviously quite strange time what we're living in, and it's nice that we can still connect via the internet. And yeah, it's just been such a joy in these experiences, whether it's virtual or when we get to meet fans at Comic-Cons or at the theme parks, just to see the continual joy that Harry Potter has kept giving people, and I think a home that it's created for so many people. And I think I, for the first time, actually rewatched some of the movies during this quarantine time since we finished shooting them, and it just reminded me just how and why they've become what they have become. They're the perfect escapism. So this has been a little bit of an escape too.
They are. Well, thank you. Just a quick reminder to the fans. We had such a great panel today. If you would like some one-on-one time with each one of these amazing actors, head to Wizard World Virtual. You can purchase those one-on-one Zoom video chats. It's just you, a Wizard World employee, and your favorite actor or actors in a Zoom meeting. So check that out at wizardworldvirtual.com. Those are on sale, whether you're watching this live or 3 days later. Then autographs and video recorded messages as well. So we know times are tough, but if you can treat yourself or treat a loved one, definitely take advantage of those. But that's why we bring these panels to you free, to give you a nice little escape from your day. And we appreciate all of these amazing actors being here. Shout out to Go Collect, our sponsor. Head to gocollect.com. We appreciate them as well for sponsoring this panel. And I just want to end, before I outro you all and get the emojis pumping, a lovely sentiment from a fan watching. Again, fans watching from around the world. But Kashuki_doctor says, "This world needs a little bit of magic and good souls like the characters that you all play. The compassion and love and vibe is something that takes us to a world of wonders, which we can only wish of. And heart emojis. So that is from a specific fan, but I know is speaking on behalf of all the fans out there. So we say thank you. Wizard World Virtual Experience fans watching from around the globe on 3 different streams, please give it up one more time. Let's get a big round of emojis for Tolga Safer, Josh Herdman, Guy Henry, Julian Glover, David Bradley, Miriam Margolis, and Bonnie Wright, everybody. Bye, everybody. We will see you next time. Continue to follow us at Wizard World on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My name is Mike G. I've been your host. You can follow me at Mike G Does Things, and we will see you next time. Happy birthday, Harry.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Harry.
Happy birthday to you.